night and the Gemini crew. Ooh. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us
Welcome
tonight.
Welcome all to Mike in the Night 10K subscriber edition. Ladies and gentlemen, women, children, men, infants, people, I want to thank you all for this 10K subscriber, and it's you guys. 10,000 subscribers, guys, and without you guys, I don't exist, we don't exist, and we have your... We are one. Yeah, we are one. We all come together to talk. We all come together to debate. We all come together to find an answer to this, what we called future or next generations to come. I got a lot of shout outs here from people. I got shout outs here from emails and people just, I've got a couple of hundred shout outs here. I'll try and get through them a bit through the show. Okay, we got word that Lord Humongous is going to Seattle. He's going to be making some live videos there for us in the housing markets and what's going on in the area, and doing some reporting for Mike in the Night / trends in the housing market in the Seattle area. So Lord Humongous will be there for us. He'll stream us live in Skype in Seattle and give us a download what's going on for the channel. Stanton Mick says, I want to thank you for your sincerity and high quality of listeners and commenters who contribute to this channel. Great quality people. Thank you so much. Woo! So, 10K subscribers, guys. Without you guys, there's the... Right? This world doesn't exist without our subconscious, right? If we can't see it, then we can't believe it. And if we can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? It's hot, guys. You can tell I'm sweating. It is about 28 Celsius outside. Like I said, Merritt, second week of March, start fertilizing your lawn. And I've been working on the garden, so I got a lot of work going on. I'll keep you guys up to date on what's going on with the project backyard here in the house. So I got a lot of shout outs coming from Australia. I got like 140 shout outs from Australia. And I want to thank everyone for that. Guys, we got a lot to talk about. I know we talked about this before. It's right here. The whole Chinese social credit score. That's fine. It's in China. Who cares? but it's being launched in Australia in the next week or two. That's a problem. And you know, on my channel, I've been talking how Australia basically is the guinea pig for the English-speaking world. They took their guns away. They took their, they overly inflated their housing prices. I mean, like every other English-speaking country. But they also did a lot of things in Australia where it's almost like the proving ground for the rest of the English-speaking world. And now this, look at this. Everybody's being screened walking down the street. And it's giving them their credit scores. It's even telling their heart rate, and it's even telling them why. What's the point? And I'll tell you what the point is. Oh, you spoke to this and this and this, and this person has a very low rating. Your rating will go down for speaking to this person. I heard that. I spoke to somebody from the interior of China who speaks Chinese and Portuguese. Contacted me on Skype from Macau, Portuguese China, where people watch me from. He called me and spoke to me in Portuguese. Oi, Mike, tudo bem? And he gave me his phone number through Skype. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to call this guy, but I didn't. Then he called me on Skype. He's like, I finally figured it out. He's like, Oi, Mike, tudo bem? He's talking to me in Portuguese. He's like, yes, I was born in Brazil, but I live in Macau now, but I lived in the interior of China for 17 years. And he speaks Chinese, Portuguese. And he told me that he left mainland China because of this. He told me that people that speak to other people who have a low credit score get dinged themselves. And he said he's afraid that if he wants to buy a train ticket, let's say, or a flight to get out, they will deny him access to leave the country. Even though he talked to somebody that was at a low score. And that's scary. He asked me not to reveal his name, of course, and he's living in Macau now, and he's contracting work there, so he's okay. But he said, because a lot of Portuguese moved there, so he's like, it's okay. I just go ahead and just don't give my too much of my history in mainland China. But it's getting really totalitarian. He's Roman Catholic because he's from Brazil, Portuguese descendant, right? He's Roman Catholic, and he living in the interior of China. It was very interesting. He kept mentioning to me about the pyramids that they have there, like pyramids bigger than the ones in Giza. But the government is kind of shutting that down, and the government is not making that public. And people are not allowed to photograph those pyramids in China. And they're putting overgrown vegetation on this, so people can't make out that it's a pyramid, even though you could plain as day see a pyramid-looking trees and grass, Woo! So, and everyone's asking me to woo in the comment section. So before we get into the social credit score, we're going to go over a bit of news. We got Ricky here. Good old Ricky in the house. Woo! Come on, Ricky. One more time. Woo! Yeah, baby. Ric Flair in the house. We got a message to Antifa.
You keep your mouth shut, fat boy.
One more time, Antifa.
You keep your mouth shut, fat boy.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe you take a shower, fat boy. 10,000 subscriber special edition tonight, guys. And, it's hot, guys. I got all the windows open here, and it's a hot one. Second week of March. Start riding your bike. Start fertilizing your lawn. We got about 9 months of really good weather. So, hot here in Merritt, British Columbia. Okay, we got a bunch of shout-outs, so let's get on to a little bit of a little bit of news around the world. Go ahead and smoke, drink, and eat whatever you want. Norway's public health minister. Is America ready for John Bolton's war with Iran? Oh, we've been covering that a bit on the show. I got to be very vanilla ice here on the show because I don't want to get my show flagged, SA. Model XXX Pornhub traffic explodes with Tesla searching after Musk's smut-inspires tweets. Okay. Who will defend the U.S.? Protect the U.S. from enemies in World War III strategy game. Oh, that's a video game. But that's a good topic. That's a really good topic to have on Mike in the Night. Who would defend the U.S. in real life? Like, who? Canada has no army, so we'll talk about that another time. I don't want to get into that right now. Okay, the world to America. You're fired. MQ-25 stealth drone. First flight could be 1 month away. Flight test expected to start in 2H19 over St. Clair County, Illinois. Why don't they make a nice stealth drone to fly families around to visit families? To fly people around and fly people to emergency operations or surgeries. Why don't they use that for that and punch it in the computer? Okay, sir, you'll be there in 45 minutes. Lay back, relax, and enjoy your flight. Shut everything down. Boom. Oxygen. Boom. Yeah. So someone's asking, what's tonight's topic? We are talking about the social credit score that is headed towards Australia. Yep. You thought it was only in China, but it's in Australia. And it's bad. Oh, is it ever bad? We're going to go over this, and we're going to have to fine-tooth comb some of the statistics in here. Because, again, Australia is like the guinea pig of the world with housing, with taking the guns away, and kind of, yeah. Okay, so, is this the next big AI investment story? John Quincy Adams warning ignored. Washington has become the world's dictatress. You know what John Adams is, right? Second president, or was it John Quincy was the fourth president? I know John Adams was the second president of the United States. I don't know if John Quincy Adams was I don't know if they're the same person. No one can deny the prediction has come true. America has truly become the world's dictatress. A cancer on our economy. Report finds 7 billion laundered through British Columbia 2018. We went over that. I made a video on that where I was practically crying because we lost our futures. Cardin, Red Hayak, as your children lives depend on it. U.S. Special Forces Command issues new guide for overthrowing foreign governments. Here's a lesson from the 108,000 millionaires who left their home countries last year. We're going to do a Mike in the Night show about wealthy people leaving their home countries. We got to do a show on that to cover why are people leaving specific countries to specific areas, and why have they given up on the country that's made them rich. Left unveils new plan to allow cancellation of student loans in bankruptcy. Oh, God. The only gold the U.S. will show the working vault at West Point. So they have a little bit of a felt rope here with a little bit of gold behind on a couple of stacks of a little bit of gold, basically showing that, oh, see, we have gold reserves. That could be all tungsten for all we know. The earnings of the 20 biggest movie franchises over the last 20 years, and China's JP Morgan seeks money from its employees to avoid collapse. That's a nice one. Bezos reveals Blue Origin's lunar lander targets humans on the moon by 2024. But they've been talking about going on the moon since the time of Galileo, man. Jesus Christ. Oh, guys. Oh. Let me just get some air here on the back of my neck. It's so hot. Okay, man, that's enough news covering what's going on. Okay, so what do we got here? I got a million shout outs here, guys. I want to thank everyone for reaching out to me with the kind words, and we're on a 10,000 subscriber anniversary edition, special edition, and tonight we're talking about 10,000 subscribers. Look at that. Mike in the Night, Australia / Darwin unloading new Big Brother. And some people told me that this was fake news. I've actually corroborated it with several people that live in Darwin, Australia, that contacted me and told me that there's poles everywhere with speakers and cameras and everything. So say what you want to say. Yep. All right, that's enough news. So let's get to this, guys. This is scary. Oh, this is scary. Seeing something like this is scary, and now that it's being unveiled in Australia, it's going to cripple. It's like you can't think for yourself. You can't think for yourself. So hopefully we get some people on the show tonight to comment on this. Let's do some shout-outs before we get to that. Emma in Chilliwack, BC is listening to us in the darkness in her bedroom, the darkness in her room. We got Roger S. from Bellingham, Washington. Congrats on 10,000 subs. Olivia Kelson from Twin Falls, Idaho. Mike, you rock. Listen to you while Uber driving. Jose Sanchez from San Marcos, Texas. Listening to the show while hauling his Freightliner to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So lots of shout outs going out tonight. It's almost like it's like someone's birthday or something, you know? So Low Royal Scratcher saying AMTV is selling more Bitcoin courses again. Yeah, callers are coming in tonight, guys. We're going to get people calling in. So it's open. Lines are officially open, and want you guys to weigh in on what's going on here. But here it is. China's big brother social control arrives in Australia. So this right here is arriving to Australia. This is a big deal. I'm not kidding, guys. This is a huge deal. And then if you have a low score like this guy here flashing in red and you talk to that guy, you might be hit with a point and you can't get on a train and you can't get a mortgage and you can't buy a video game. And your credit cards are canceled, by the way. Yeah. So this is a big deal. And everyone's talking about AMTV and Bitcoin. Nobody cares. Bitcoin could go to AMTV could go to hell. He sold himself out a long time ago. I'm here to talk to you guys about what's really happening and how this is going to change our world. You know, if I know something about something, I tell you guys. I don't offer a course. Here, guys, this is what I do with my small business. Guys, this is how I started my small business. Guys, this is how I sell on eBay. Guys, this is what I recommend to do. I just share whatever knowledge I could give you guys. So here it is, guys. Social credit score coming to Australia. This is a big deal. Australia is preparing to debut its version of the Chinese regime's high-tech system for monitoring and controlling its citizens to take place in northern city of Darwin will include the systems to monitor people's activity via their cell phones. The new system is based on monitoring programs in Shenzhen, China, where Chinese Communist Party is testing its social credit system. Officials on the Darwin Council traveled to Shenzhen. So Darwin Council, people from Darwin, Australia in the north, basically traveled to Shenzhen, according to NT News, to have a chance to see exactly how the smart technology works prior to be fully rolling out. So their own politicians sold them out, as say. In Darwin, they've already constructed poles fitted with speakers, cameras, and Wi-Fi, according to the NT News, to monitor people, their movements around the city, the websites they visit, and what apps they use. The monitoring will be done mainly by artificial intelligence, but will alert authorities based on set triggers. We got a problem here, guys. We got a big problem here. This is not a joke. I wish I was joking about this. But everyone's talking about AMTV Bitcoin. Who cares? Do you want to be tracked like this everywhere you go? This is an actual clip of what it looks like. Ooh, realistic game for men. I don't think that's politically correct today, but anyways. We got a problem here. Good night, Elizabeth. Elizabeth Diaz says she has a spiritual retreat tomorrow. God bless everyone. God bless you, Elizabeth. And pray for us, if you can. People coming in the comments now. People coming into the comments. This is a very serious discussion here tonight. I gotta get this is a big deal. Now it's unveiling in Australia, and so it's called a virtual fence. So what this is called a virtual fence. I think it's a virtual prison. Okay, and Cotton Candy Beard Gary saying cashless society is the way to track everyone. To that way, I prefer cash over Bitcoin and digital currency. That's correct, Cotton Candy Beard, Gary. The thing is, I think this is more of a prison around you. It's a constant prison that's monitoring. Look at that. It tells you how bad your social credit score is. It tells you who if you interact with certain people that you shouldn't be, you get clipped and get hurt on your rating. And then you want to book a ticket to go to your grandson's granddaughter's ballet recital, or your grandson's violin recital, and they don't let you on a train because you spoke to this person or you bought too many video games. I'm not kidding about too many video games. I swear to you, I'm not kidding about that. So let's start off here. Leave no dark corner. I kind of want to show this to you guys. Dan Dan Fan is very much the modern Chinese woman. A marketing professional, she's diligent and prosperous. In many ways, she's a model. She was a model to Chinese citizens. But Dan Dan is being watched 24 hours a day. Look at that. Look at that. A vast network of 200 million CCTV cameras across China ensures there's no dark corner to watch to hide. 200 million people. Okay, I didn't know it was 200 million cameras. That must have cost billions and billions of dollars. A vast network of 200 million CCTV cameras across China. Every step she takes, every one of her actions, big or small, even what she thinks, can be tracked and judged. And Dan Dan says that's fine with her. Guys, this is a big deal. And I'm not liking what's going on with this. This is people being tracked. 200 million cameras? I mean, have they even made 200 million cameras on the planet? Like, total cameras ever made on the planet? 200 million? Time to reflect, saying, Mike, it is the G5 that makes this possible. Then Lord Humongous says, all the Chinese need to do is smash the cam. Then Supreme Canon says, the illusion of security attracts far more women than men. And, so, I mean, okay, so what if you want to go out in the bush and camp for a couple of weeks? With 200 million cameras around the country, I'm very sure you could go out into the wilderness, like in the deep chaotic parts of China where no white man or foreigner fears to go, would never make this and unveil the shadow of the Orient and make their way to the interiors of hidden culture and blah blah blah. You're still being tracked. They're still watching you. Okay, we got Ston Tom Mick says Chinese know not to disobey. Tiananmen told people that fighting the government not only gets you in trouble, but your whole family. So Alan Robshaw said it's gonna go to 500 million cameras. John Blazel says, asking about pet. And then Bighorn Bins says, how does that identity tech work in China? I can't tell them apart. The Chinese are programmed like super NPCs. Guys, I'm not liking this, man. I know I've said the same thing 46 times. This is crippling. This is going to be very crippling. And now, okay, well, Mike, it's China. Who cares? They're rolling it out in Australia. So, it's hitting Darwin. So, city councilors from Darwin went to Shenzhen to have a chance to see exactly how the smart technology works prior to being fully rolled out in Australia. So this is becoming a problem. This is becoming a big problem. Let's get Supreme Cannon on here. I don't know. I know he's watching the show. I'm not sure if he's got his computer working. He's got computer issues every time with Skype. So let's give him a call and see if he's
Hey, buddy.
Supreme, how are you, my brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, man, you heard my spiel on this. You're gonna have to tell me what you think on this, because now they're unraveling it in Australia, and it's no surprise that Australia is the first English-speaking country to be the guinea pig of this.
Yeah, no, it's no shock at all. They've got to have control, and the big thing is they've got to make people believe that they're being watched day and night. It discourages dissent. It makes people feel atomized and under control of Big Brother, and it's still a communist country. They have special economic zones where they've got all this, where a lot of this bogus money is coming from and winding up on our side of the world. But they're not. They've got problems too. Their national debt is twice the size of America's. I can see them wanting to double down on control to keep people quiet, because they're probably going to have to institute some kind of rationing if things get bad. There might be all kinds of things. It comes down to, is it all going to just be political, or is there actually some relatively benign, law enforcement ideas? China, obviously being a communist country, you're expecting that they're looking for wrong think, people saying the wrong thing and associating the wrong people. They don't want any kind of resistance networks building up, so they're going to try to keep them scattered. But they also have to maintain the illusion of hope. They've got to keep people believing, they've got to keep their expectations up that participating in this system is going to help them. Even the phone jacks and the electrical outlets in some hotels in Russia, you had listening devices. You'd have 2 or 3 guys talking in a room, and then one of them would get pulled aside by a plainclothes KGB officer afterwards for interrogation. That's an enormous system. It's incredibly expensive to try to keep that kind of control on people.
Well, they got 200 million cameras, and from what somebody said in the comments, that they're actually they're going to unveil another 300 million more cameras across China. And now they got poles and speakers and cameras all over Darwin, Australia.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see what happens in Darwin. When it came up last week, I see in the comments somebody said there's a lot of drunks and alcoholics and a lot of rubbies on the street. It's kind of a dirty town. Maybe it's a pilot program. It depends on how receptive people will be to it. It's going to be mostly in the cities.
It doesn't matter what position these people are in. What matters is they're doing it to Australian citizens. So if you're in Darwin or you're in Sydney or Melbourne and Perth, you're still a citizen of Australia.
Yeah, it's not right. There's going to be court challenges to it. I mean, in the free world, quote unquote free world, there's going to be challenges to it.
So, but how would you feel if let's say you got to go visit a daughter or son, and they won't let you on the train because you have a social bad credit score because you spoke to me on my show? Then what happens?
Well, in a case like that with a system that's fully up and operational, yeah, it's a huge problem. Definitely. But it's not here yet. And even in Australia, they got it in one city. Well, there's 25 million people in Australia. There are going to be huge challenges against this thing. I don't think it's going to fly.
But there's 2 billion people in China, or 1.6 billion or 1.5 billion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they got 200 million cameras. That's a lot of ground.
Oh, definitely. But I think most people in China, they're probably communist agnostics. Like they don't really care one way or the other. They're a much more collectivist society than ours. And
hold on.
Go ahead.
Stan Tomic brought up, hold on, a good point. Never mind that every phone is a surveillance device, recording what you say, whether you power it or not, recording video, etc. So we're forgetting that, Supreme.
Right. Well, that's true. I mean, remember 1984? 1984 keeps coming up. There were telescreens everywhere. Same deal. No dark corner, no place to hide. Now people get mad if no one's looking at them when they take a picture on their camera. Yeah, you have a listening device with a couple of cameras on it, and people pay for it and carry it around already. But people aren't getting rounded up and arrested yet. For the most part, they do that stuff just because they want to sell you stuff. Right. I mean, Facebook and Amazon or whoever's got these listening devices, mostly they're looking for algorithms so they can figure out what kind of ads to put on your Facebook page. So far, it hasn't come down to, all right, well, I think Obama tried to use the IRS against some
Tea Party members.
Tea Party members, that's right, some political opponents. Well, that all, so far as I can tell, has stopped, at least at the federal level. Obviously, Facebook and Twitter are harassing conservatives, and they've been mass deplatforming them. There'll probably be another purge of it. But, I mean, they're already in the crosshairs of the Senate. And Trump has brought it up a couple of times. People up on top of the pyramid see this happening, and they've made it plain. I think it's going to wind up being something like what happened in the early 1900s with Teddy Roosevelt, and also with Reagan, where they busted up the big trusts. Facebook and Amazon are begging to be busted up into smaller companies, and there's plenty of political support to do it. So I don't think something like this is going to get any more traction in our side of the world than it has already. Darwin, I can't speak to it. I don't know how many cameras they have, and I don't know if political opponents of the ruling party are starting to get hauled off the street by the police, then I think you're going to have trouble. You're definitely going to have court challenges, and they'll be widely publicized. It's not going to be that easy here. Not as easy as in China.
We got Just for Fun Canada saying they already take your passport here in Canada to stop you from leaving.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for the most part, it's still for criminal reasons, but criminal reasons still at this point aren't political reasons, or at least you can go to court and attempt to get some kind of redress for it. You're not going to get that in China. They're going to tell you what your social credit score is, but they're going to have to hone it as well. I mean, if it gets to the point you have some kind of morality police literally harassing people and their families, you're going to have major economic disruptions. I mean, you don't suppress people's morale like that and expect to keep your economy buzzing along. I mean, the Soviet Union, they had control of 3 generations of school children. They had 100% iron control of the media. They still collapsed. China could collapse too. It probably will anyway.
Because China right now, there's about 23 million people on the ban list right now that can't get a loan from the bank, can't get on trains, can't. That's 23 million. I think it's 23 to 30 million. They're guessing that are now publicly shamed people. They're publicly shamed also. So 23 to 30 million people that are on the ban list. That's pretty much the population of, Canada. I mean, it's not, but I mean, a couple of million more. You got Canada's entire population on a ban list, basically.
Sure. Well, that's a huge number of people, and it is frightening. I mean, I'm looking at it, and believe me, I'm looking for the bright side of this thing and looking about how we could defeat it. Someone will figure out a way to interfere with it. And in the case of China, I mean, what are the crimes? What are the things that are lowering these people's social credit? If it comes down to you have to watch every single thing you say, that's just going to encourage other means of communicating. I mean, in the Soviet Union, you had samizdat, right? You had untraceable typewriters. You had people that were mimeographing anti-Soviet pamphlets and circulating them all over the country. Plus, the other thing, Mike, remember, is you could still buy Western products at the black market price. There was an incredibly well-organized black market economy.
But we got a problem with the black market. The black market
Sure.
was already established pre-World War II.
Well, that's true. That's true.
We don't have an established black market here like that is readily available like you would in Thailand and Taiwan and in Soviet Russia, South Africa. They have full-time. Like, you want gasoline off the black market, it's yours. You want a cell phone off the black market, it's yours. You
Sure.
want clothing or rip off clothing and stuff off the black market, it's yours. In Canada, it's not that easy.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But if they can get millions of pounds of drugs in the United States every year, someone could figure out a way to get blue jeans and cigarettes into Canada. I mean, exactly what we would be lacking by not having some kind of, by not agreeing to some kind of social credit system. I don't know exactly what would happen here. It all depends on how organized it can be. Remember, this Chinese system is being run by the government. Like it's. There's probably still a lot of people falling through the cracks. I'm looking at this animation that's running for now, right example, and I'm seeing 2 or 3 people that these little boxes aren't coming up on. Like they're not getting everybody.
Okay, when it doesn't get a person, this is okay. So I talked to a friend, a person, a member of the channel. I said it earlier. He was born in Brazil, and he lived in Macau, and then he went to interior of China on contract work. Okay,
Sure.
He told me that when somebody doesn't get fully boxed, it means that they are being created a profile on.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously they'll stand out like a sore thumb because they don't have a box on
That's
them.
correct.
So yeah, someone will track them down or see them on the street. They probably got people walking around anyway.
So when you got a face image only without the box, it shows that the profile has been created and it's generating more information on that facial structure / whatever they call it. And so they're taking that, and then he told me that it got so bad in the interior of China that he had to leave and he went back to Portuguese China, aka Macau. And he's living there now. He's doing smaller contracting work in Macau, and he's better off there because it's just So he told me that it's getting very bad when it comes to freedom. Like
surveillance.
China had freedom because there's so much population, so it's hard to mentor all so many people. But now with this technology and 5G rolling out there, it's a problem. And he wants out, and he got his family out. And like I said, he lives in Macau now for temporarily. And if things get really bad, he said he's going to move to Portugal, and that's it.
I don't blame him. Yeah, this is creepy as hell, Mike. There's no question about it. I mean, this is freaky stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. The reasons for it are insane. And yeah, I see people mentioning in here 100,000 plus a year are killed every year for their organs. Political prisoners, just people who thought the wrong thing. It's absolutely satanic. It's disgusting. There's about 3 million. I think they're Uyghurs. I'm not sure how they're pronounced, but they're Chinese or Asiatic Muslims that live in communist China, and the men are
northwestern China.
Northwestern China, yeah. There's about half of them. The men are in concentration camps, and all the fertile women have been registered as breeders. I mean, they have a shortage of women in China, so now they're socializing the supply of sex too. Yeah, they want control over people so that they can have them doing the Uyghurs. Thank you, Stanton. Yeah, that's it's control so that their technocratic system can start redistributing the supply of everything, including the ultimate, which is the human resource.
This is Supreme. I'm scared, man. I'm really scared of this because if they're unveiling it in, okay, let me bring up a little bit of here it is. So here it is, February 26, 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
China social credit system may soon reach Australia. So it came in as a discussion piece in some Australian frontline news, okay?
Sure.
It was unveiled as a discussion piece. Now,
Yeah.
China's big brother social control arrives in Australia
Sure.
5 months later. Oh, it's just in Darwin, right?
Right.
And it will start including monitoring people's thing. And then it says here, it says here, there's poles everywhere with cameras everywhere. A monitoring program in China where the Chinese Communist Party is testing out social credit system. Officials on the Darwin Council traveled to Shenzhen, according to NT News, have a chance to exactly see how their smart technology works prior to being fully rolled out. In Darwin, they've already constructed poles fitted with speakers, cameras, Wi-Fi, according to the NT News, to monitor people. So there's roughly, this is what I've heard, roughly 26,000 cameras from rumors that I've heard right now in Darwin. 26,000 cameras.
Wow.
Yeah. So
brutal. That's brutal. I guess it comes down to what are the results going to be. If it's a test program, if it's the camel trying to get its nose into the tent, I guess it's going to come down to what are they expecting to get out of it? Is it just an intimidation thing to try to keep people in line? Are they really going to start cutting off people's water and hydro and sewer, and they can't get mortgages, like you said, they can't buy food? I mean, certainly in Australia, there's a lot of evangelicals when they, this mark of the beast kind of stuff comes out. You're going to have some very polarized politics there before too long, and you're probably going to have violence.
And on the comment section say, I think Sydney already has it at airports and train stations at least. They set up HD cameras for traffic to find people on their smartphones while driving. So
yeah. Well, driving and on your smartphone and all the things that people do in their cars, I mean, people get killed doing that. Frankly, anything that would stop that from happening, I'd be all for it. But it still comes down to the same thing. People don't govern themselves. And so stuff like this comes along, either to take advantage of it or try to monetize it. I'm inclined to think that if you had a low social credit score in Canada, they'll just find a way for you to rebuild that credit score like your actual credit score. Like you'll pay some kind of fee to a government agency to get enough points to go and do what you do. They'll fine you. I don't think they're going to harvest your organs in Canada. Or if they tried something like that. Well, I'm hoping we're a while away from that. Yet. Yeah, exactly. God knows there's enough ugly stuff going on already that everybody knows about and doesn't appear on CBC News for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a lot of political fracturing over this. China is, it's a monolithic country in that it has one political party and they call the shots. And it's not quite that way here. Yes, the parties are all supported by donors. Maybe they're all managed, but it seems to me like there's a lot of surprises, very inconvenient surprises coming along for the people that assumed that this quote unquote progress was just going to continue. So I'm hoping to see this fight heat up. I don't think this is going to go worldwide. There's just so many people that will not accept it. And in the end, what is it going to do? If they take 100 or 200 million people off the streets in China, a lot of their, innovators or entrepreneurs or most productive people tend to be mavericks. So if you start hauling all the mavericks away, you're kneecapping yourself economically at a time when you really need those people hustling to pay the bills.
Right.
So you can't really, take software engineers and business people and have them breaking rocks in Siberia kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the old labor camp idea isn't going to work.
Okay.
I don't know.
I got Stan Dominic saying you were asking before, Mike, how will they afford to pay for cities? Well, guess what? They'll cut down on police and militarize the existing police and use more surveillance. That's very true.
Well, they keep doing it. They keep trying it. I saw an ad on one website today, and there's this little town of 8,600 people in Ohio. They have an armored personnel carrier for their SWAT team. It's a little over the top. Yeah, we don't want our peace officers playing cop and walking around with black armor and rifles, definitely. But the thing is that in this part of the world, that's still considered over the top and ridiculous, and it gets pointed out and it gets debated in our houses and our legislatures. Like it's not there are people in Canada, no doubt, if they had their way, yes, everyone would be under surveillance. There would be labor camps and everyone's property would be confiscated. Those people exist everywhere in the world. It's no different here, but they have to make their case just like everybody else. That domination of the media by the far left that's happened for years is starting to get eroded, even with all the deplatformings on social media. Well, it's just increased, and that's the thing about control. Mm-hmm. Control breeds competitors too. I mean, you have alternatives to Facebook, to YouTube, to Twitter, and just about everything now. And as more people leave those platforms that are coming under surveillance, they're going to take their resources and their time and their attention. They're going to go to these other ones. It's like right now with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up to 7,300 US. Well, guess what? All the people that just tore out all of their mining equipment from making all these crap coins a year and a half ago are going to be putting them back in.
Yeah.
So, everything breeds competition. China is trying to suppress any possible competition, any source of dissent or unrest. But all you're doing is putting a cap on a volcano. It ain't going to work. It'll blow out somewhere else. They're going to have some kind of probably, if not political, then it'll be some kind of economic setback from this.
Because I see Australia as not to be mean or anything, but a very soft nation when it comes. There's a lot of leftists there and very soft nations that would embrace something like this and bring it in and say, yes, we do need this because it's going to stop the conservative right from their movements and evil doings. And then in the reality sense of it, it's not, it's actually a lie, and it's a bigger deal, and it's going to actually monitor everybody.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Well, Australia has it has a reputation for being soft. Yes, there's a lot of, you're right, Louis, there are too many social justice warriors in Australia. Well, they're everywhere. Okay, and the social justice warrior thing, the thing about it is it's not economically self-sustaining. People are paying for these people to do this stuff, or they've somehow parasitized the government in order to do it. But you look at American media, massive layoffs, right? Gillette got kneecapped for that stupid ad they put out about toxic masculinity. This kind of
guys are a bunch of losers.
They are losers, and now I see Bud Light is putting out rainbow bottles too. Well, they probably think Bud Light is invincible. I'm inclined to think a lot of people are going to be drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon from now on. You know what I mean? Your ultimate vote is your dollar and where you spend your labor and how much of it you spend.
That's right.
The Soviet Union had iron control and it collapsed. China is going to try the same thing. China is not a monolithic people. There's 100 different people groups in China.
That's correct.
You've got one party running it all. The same thing is going to happen to them. They just have these special economic zones to try to generate some money to pay for the whole thing. They have tens of millions of empty housing units. That's all. Remember when commodities were all going through the roof in the mid-2000s? Mm-hmm. They were buying 30% more copper than they needed, and oil went to 147, and China was the new tiger, was going to take over the world from America. Well, it was Japan, and then it was Germany before that, right? And what happened to them? Well, they crashed. Mm-hmm. And China's
massively stagnated markets, and
yeah,
borrowing money from the IMF. Germany's been doing that, and hold on, we got some good comments here. Hold on. Joe, that was a good one. Come on. Where'd it go? I lost it. Lobster Boy said, where is it? Australia was created as a prison and will collapse as one.
I wouldn't rule it out. There are a lot of hard asses in Australia. And the thing about that gun buyback, I think 7% of people in Australia had privately owned firearms before the ban. Well, it's down to like 5%. There's still millions of privately owned firearms in Australia. I mean, there's people on the outback, I mean, the big cattle stations and stuff like that. You need firearms.
Yeah,
and with the kind of
they need a
funky
Mac 10.
Animals down there. Yeah, you need a Mac 10. Well, yeah, they used machine guns. They fought a great emu war after World War I. I mean, they had machine guns out trying to take these stupid birds down. Well, it didn't work. So yeah, you need guns at the very least. Yeah, no, there's millions of privately owned firearms in the Commonwealth. It's not that we're completely unarmed. This moron in New Zealand after that mosque shooting. Well, let's take all the innocent, law-abiding people. We'll take their guns away. Well, that's not going to sell.
Yeah, but that's banana wasn't even from New Zealand.
No, that's the other problem. Yeah, some people say, "Oh, well, she's a tranny," or what? I don't know. All kinds of rumors go out there. To me, that kind of thing is you got to let it boil out and see what's left at the bottom of the pot. You just don't know. They try to hit you from every angle with all this new stuff all the time to keep you confused. They've been doing it for 50 years. You just kind of take a breath, count to 10, and see how it pans out in 30 days. This
Don't panic. Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. Whatever you do, don't panic. You get yourself wound up about it. Every conspiracy under the sun, I've probably read them all in the last 10 years. Yeah, your head just fizzes after a while with this stuff, Mike. And this stuff is no different. You look at these people with the little squares on them and you think, but this is the thing. When you get millions of people and when they start disappearing off the street, well, that's going to lower public opinion. So what's going to happen is you're going to have millions and millions and millions of people a month whose credit scores are dropping through the floor because they don't like the fact that people are disappearing. Well, then what are you going to do? Are you going to round up everybody in the country?
Yeah.
I mean, when troops
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like you said, it's political. It's not political. It's economic suicide.
It's economic suicide. That's right. You've got to handle the political, the military, and the diplomatic, not just externally, but internally as well. They've got to keep that iron rice bowl. They got to keep people fed, got to keep them fat and sassy. They got to give them a reason to hope and have optimism. You can't legislate that stuff. You've got to give people real reasons to have it. And so if you start plucking millions of people, I mean, Soviet Russia, part of the reason that they were able to kill so many millions of people is because there was no infrastructure. Most people lived in these tiny villages scattered all over the place, connected by dirt roads. So, the Bolsheviks could go from village to village and confiscate and execute a few people to send a message and then go on to the next one. And they just went through there like a scythe. Well, China, everyone's got smartphones. And if 4chan could come up with codes to communicate with each other without, triggering Facebook and Twitter's algorithms. Well, I'm pretty sure the Chinese can do it too.
Stop the press.
Okay.
Social credit system, a dangerous form of control.
Yeah.
In China. Okay, we just mentioned that, but are you ready for this? Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Venezuela, Chile will implement a citizen control system in their countries.
Well, I'm not shocked about Venezuela. Chile, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, people in Chile, as far as I know, are intensely patriotic. Mm-hmm. Like, it shouldn't be a problem there. The only problem that they really had there was obviously when Pinochet threw out the communists. But, I mean, he had a lot of public support for them. And the things he did were, I mean, they were pretty dirty. I don't really advocate throwing people from helicopters. I don't think that was really necessary. But,
Didn't that happen to the guy from Briax?
Yeah, he had a strange gravity-assisted landing too. Yeah. But
okay. So here it is, people. This is what Chile is actually going to be doing with their social credits. So I guess social credit scores will be monitored on different ranking systems. So this is what Chile is going to do: legal credibility, the existence of precedences or pending cases. Commercial honesty is another one. It will penalize the delay in the payment of bills.
Sure.
So, and then it goes to social integrity, no smoking in public areas or case situations that alter the order. And then behavior in social networks, it will penalize, for example, the spread of false news or rumors. And the score of friends will affect your own. That's what Chile is going to be doing.
Birds of a feather, eh? The only one that really scares me is the one about political thoughts or fake news and stuff like that. Because who gets to decide what fake news is, right? I mean, that's getting to be pretty tedious how the fake news thing works. But if you look at a place like, I mean, as far as I know, Chile doesn't have any kind of extensive welfare system, and you probably have a lot of corruption in Venezuela. I mean, you need it to get food. I mean, people are, eating rats and mice, right? Mm-hmm. They don't seem to be willing to do anything about it. So people will either, sit quietly until they starve to death, or they'll be out in the street and risking getting run over by the armored cars.
Okay,
right? Like it's already happening.
Okay, I want to do a quick shout out here if you don't mind, Supreme.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So shout outs. This is just from Australia, guys. I got a lot of shout outs coming. So Amelia watching us at the docks in St. Augustine, Florida. Luis Vega, Australian, living in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. We got Matherson and the crew watching Mike in the Night from Coventry, England. So I want to thank those people. From time to time, I'm going to have to do some shout-outs because I have that's just from the West. Now let's go to Australia. Hudson, Anna, Christian, Carolyn, Hunter, Nova, Connor, Amelia, Eli, Kennedy, Samantha, Maya, and Aaron watching us from Australia.
Nice. You got the whole world watching.
Oh yeah, the whole Commonwealth. Anyway, so social credit system, a dangerous form of control in China. Now, I'm kind of shocked. That's why I had to stop the press.
Yeah.
Because Chile is jumping on board, and I would never imagine. I could imagine like Ecuador doing it. I could see Nicaragua doing it. I could see Panama doing it, but I just can't see Chile doing it.
It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, no. But the thing is if the people are fairly, loyal and patriotic, and there's really no reason to use something like that, then it probably is. I mean, in some cases, there are benign reasons for it. Especially in a place like Canada, the reason that we're vulnerable, Canada and the U.S., is we have these extensive welfare states, and they're incredibly corrupt, and millions of people abusing the system and breaking rules and doing whatever all the time. Like, they just won't govern themselves anymore. Mm-hmm. So I'm inclined to think in a place like that it's as much a corruption crackdown as anything else, because the people aren't revolting. They're not. It's not that they're not cooperating. Like, there's no reason for it. They're not necessarily buying all the crap their government tells them, because every government lies. Ours does too. What else can they do? In a democracy, you tell the truth, you don't get reelected. It is what it is. Okay, but it's not all going to be negative. There's probably reasons for it.
Okay, so this consists of offering incentives and facilitates to those citizens who, through the system of points and a roster, can access different benefits granted by the same government and private companies providing basic services that, in theory, should be granted in the same way to any citizen.
If it's applied evenly, I mean, they're going to have to define what good behavior is too, and what positive things are. If you're productive, if you're like that girl that said, she was fine with it, she's going about her business, she's working hard every day, she's probably careful with her money. That's, people like that, they usually don't have anything to worry about. Like, I don't even have a speeding ticket. I don't consider myself to be, I consider myself to be disgruntled and everything else, but you know what? No, I don't have any run-ins with the police. I don't have any run-ins with the tax people. Go ahead.
No, but you're talking to Mike in the Night.
Right.
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem. I guess we'll find out, Mike. But they're going to have to say why.
So the article is in Chile here from Chilean News. Crédito social, una peligrosa forma de control en China. So it's the same thing. The article is in the Latin American News, and it is turning some heads there from what it's saying. And it's it's saying right here, benefits that are dependent to average citizens that should be given to all citizens will be cut off, is what it's saying here. And with proper clarification, and those people will be monitored even further into other systems of credit and other social aspects. That's what it says here in Spanish.
Sure. If you are on any kind of government benefits, or you're collecting government benefits.
Supreme, did we lose you? Supreme? Supreme? Did you... Are you there? Hello, Supreme? Yeah, we lost Supreme Cannon, guys. He was really on point with what's happening here, and this is a big deal, guys. I'm not playing games here. If you guys, want to go watch Through the Moon on AMTV and the Bitcoin and all this crap, and then when it goes back down, he stops talking about it, go ahead. Because I don't like bandwagoning crap. I like to get things, decipher it, understand, and watch the patterns through the Commonwealth, because it's going to come. Chile? Chile is putting a credit system? This is Chile? Un reportaje titulado Leave No Dark Corner, realizado por lo... Oh, okay, I'm not going to say that. And 200 millones de cámaras instaladas en todas las So basically, they're saying in every corner there's a camera.
Hello.
What's up, dog?
Hey, sorry. Yeah, this thing crapped out on me for a minute.
Okay, so, dude, I mean, it's hitting chilly. I mean,
Yeah.
Chinese courts have put on social credit punishment list about 13.5 million people deemed as untrustworthy. This is from 3 days ago.
Sure.
Commuters run a gamut of surveillance cameras installed at the walkway between 2 subway stations in Beijing. People deemed untrustworthy in China have been blocked from the purchase of more than 25 million plane and train tickets as the country works to build a social credit system designed to monitor and shape and conduct its citizens. Okay, fine, that's China. Who cares? But
Sure.
it's
that's a lost cause.
Who cares?
They're
But
going
it's
to have
going
to
to
sort it out for
Australia.
themselves. It's coming to Australia.
that's the
If you-
problem.
It's a problem. One of the biggest problem is if you've got a huge welfare state like you have, you're heavily in debt. You've got to start balancing stuff. You have to crack down on it.
Supreme, can you talk for a bit? I just got to let my cat in because she's throwing herself out the window.
Oh yeah, go ahead and let Kitty in. You betcha. Yeah, it comes down to there is an enormous amount of corruption in every country, and if it's applied evenly, if everybody in China, for example, if Communist Party members that were siphoning money and taking it out of the country, they're probably on this system too. If they're not, well, people are going to point that out. At least they're going to say, well, if you're going to control us and everything we say and do, what about the people that are supposed to be our leaders? I mean, there's still going to be ways to dissent without dissenting against this system. The idea is to enforce morality. I mean, you don't want somebody else defining what your morality is. But yeah, the fact is there are a lot of people that abuse systems that are supposed to be in place to benefit the people that actually need them.
Yeah. This is very tricky. This is very tricky because...
So the average person has kind of painted themselves into a corner there too because of the number of people that get some kind of cheddar from the government.
Well, you know what happened when Mao took the guns, Hitler took the guns, and the Australian buy a back gun promo, and they all took the guns. You know, everybody knows what happens when they start taking the guns away, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the government and the police have the guns, and then, they come pay you a visit because they don't like something you put on Twitter. It sucks. It's not good. But it still comes down to you got to everybody individually. You have to tighten up your own ship. You have to make yourself as low profile as possible. You don't want to give them a reason to abuse you. Most of these people in the social credit thing, it's not necessarily because they said something, or they thought something wrong. They might have been doing something wrong that you and I would agree was wrong. You've got a lot of corruption in a place like China. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's part of the reason that it really took forever to progress. I mean, anything worthwhile they have, they pretty much stole from us. So, they need to lock it down. Obviously, the Communist Party wants control, and they're technocrats. They, like I said, people become numbers on a spreadsheet, and they need to keep the numbers down. But it's they have to crack down on corruption too. And there's ways to fight back, but the number one way is just keep a low profile.
Yeah, I know, but if you're keeping a low profile, then they're going to start watching you more, and they're going to start looking into you more.
Sure. Sure. Well,
a lot of people tell me, Supreme, they're like, "Oh, Mike, aren't you scared of showing your life or showing people where you work and this and that and what you do?" It's like, if somebody really wanted to know where I was, they'll come and find me.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
No, no, it's really not. With social media, it's easier than ever. There's probably all kinds of facial recognition algorithms on here that record everybody. All these girls that take selfies of, put it on, is probably recorded at the NSA, and they've got bio data banks, all them too, for whatever reason. Like, who knows? Someone's using this data for something, but 90% of the time, it's to sell you something.
You think they honestly want to track somebody in China walking from train station to train station to sell him an umbrella because he doesn't have one, and they're going to advertise him an umbrella to buy? I don't think so. 90%, I would say maybe 40%. But no, I think they really wanted to deteriorate the social or the discussion between people. I think they want to crack down on people discussing ideas with each other. I think that's what
Oh,
it is.
they don't want an exchange of ideas, but you can probably couch those in different euphemisms too. Like Big Brother, for example, is part of your title. Well, that probably flags something. MGTOW a couple of weeks ago. Words like Exodus, words like recession, all of those things, they probably flag something. How did all your Australian videos get chopped? Well, the Australian government probably has an agreement with YouTube or Google, Alphabet, whatever the big mother corp is. Well, that's just begging to have those corporations broken up into smaller pieces. The U.S. has the power to do it. They've done it before, and if someone perceives that there's an economic opportunity to do it, then politicians will support it.
But here's the deal.
They're pushing their luck right now.
There was nobody talking about this housing crash in Australia, New Zealand, and UK 4 or 5 years ago like I was. Nobody was. And the girl that came on the show from Melbourne, Australia, she says, you were the only one that was warning people. You were the only person. Everybody else was telling people everything was all right, the economy's doing right, the job market's doing good, houses will keep going up. They weren't, I was one of the first, period, to discuss this and actually bring this to light, right? And
yeah, right.
How did they specifically find me from chopping my videos from 3, 4, 5 years ago? It's got to be very specific to target videos from 4 or 5 years ago that haven't just recently been uploaded. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Absolutely. Well, where the Australian government, where banking institutions and things like that are involved, I mean, they're not either they're evil or they're dumb. I actually tend to think more dumb, but they study cycles too. Just about any information, economic information about all of the big economic, crashes and stuff in America, you can find charts on the Federal Reserve's websites. The data is there. What people do with it is a different thing. And 99% of people don't do anything with it. They don't even know it exists, right? But it's they might have seen trouble coming 4 or 5 years ago, and then when it got to the point, well, you were the first and the biggest nail that they had to pound down to try to, you manage economics by people's expectations. You got to keep those animal spirits up. You got to keep people thinking positive.
You're starting to sound like what's his face, Sigmund Freud here.
Yeah, you know what, Sigmund Freud, Edward. Yeah, right. Yeah, the dark side of my mom. I saw a Pink Floyd T-shirt like that one. Pink Floyd. It was pretty funny.
Hold on. I want to thank Sophia from Ballycastle, Ireland, who watches Mike in the Night replays on Monday in Ireland. Hold on. She actually sent me something in the mail. Do you want to see this?
Sure.
A Ric Flair wrestling toy.
Nice.
Yes.
Do you pull a string and it goes,
if you don't mind?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Woo!
Oh, yeah. I got to woo it again.
Woo!
And a message to Antifa.
You keep your mouth shut, fat boy.
So, I want to thank Sophia from Ballycastle, Ireland. Where is that? I know it's in Ireland, but Ballycastle. It must be a big city or something. I don't even know where it is. But anyways, thank you so much, Sophia, for sending me this Ric Flair toy. I was so happy when I got this. Okay. Okay. It's very...
Okay.
So, Caddy Girl saying it's very hard to get info about what's really going on here in New Zealand, so I listened to Mike. Woo! But this is coming to New Zealand too.
Yeah.
This is on its way to Australia. Guess what? Australia's little brother, New Zealand, is just going to roll this out because of all of the wingnuts out there that think it's going to protect them, but in reality, it's actually going to see their own demise with this kind of infrastructural tracking, whatever you want to call it. It's rolling out in Australia, in Darwin.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, and yeah, who care? I don't care what China does, but bringing their socialist regime, communist crap into Australia, It's bye-bye Irene, good night Irene, or whatever how you say, or bar the door Katie, it's over.
No kidding. No
Say
kidding. Well,
something,
people
say
got to
something, I'm
get
talking
organized.
too much.
People got to get organized a little bit better. At least. I mean, it's good that we're still talking about these things here, Mike, and people have got an idea where to get information they may not even have known to look for. Like you've got someone that saw your website and it's like, well, no one in New Zealand's talking about this. Well, if you just watch Global, right, or CBC, would you have any idea whatsoever about what's going on in the housing market anywhere in Canada if you didn't live in the Lower Mainland or the GTA? Probably not.
Nope.
Like I can remember back in the early 2000s when, my real estate assessment was going up 30% year over year. Wow, what's going on? Must be all that foreign money or retirees coming into my area. So, and it just seemed like it was going to go on forever. Well, obviously, yeah, I understand a little better now what it was about because, I got caught up in it. And it's going to be the same thing with this. If enough people start to get inconvenienced by a social credit score, they're going to say, screw you. Someone is going to file a suit. They're going to find ways of defeating the cameras. They'll be going on YouTube. They'll be going on Google, or they'll be going on, or DuckDuckGo. They'll find something that's a little more secure. They'll start looking for those alternative sites, and they'll be saying, well, what do I do about this? And it's the thing. Up until a point, it starts to affect the actual law-abiding, honest people. When you start removing their incentive to put their back into supporting the economy, to keep those numbers up, to keep that chart moving from lower left to upper right, then it becomes an enormous problem. There's more than one way to Briggs, revolt, exactly. There's more than one way to revolt. Make a big noise, write your MP, say we don't want this here, and if it comes, well, I'm going to support the people, and I don't care how radical left or right or whatever they have to be. I'm going to start voting, and voting with my wallet for the kind of place that I want to live in. And that's a big thing too. People need to think about what they're supporting every day with their money. In the end, it's about money and it's about control.
Yeah, this is very troublesome. Very troublesome.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good thing at all.
Well, you see, it didn't bother me much when it was happening in China. We did a story about this. We covered this a month and a half ago around the show,
yeah.
Right? 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Who cares? It's China. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's making its way, and it says right here. This is the part that eats me, that keeps me up at night in a cold sweat. Is Darwin Council traveled to Shenzhen, according to NT News, to have a chance to see exactly how their smart technology works prior to being fully rolled out in Darwin, Australia.
Yeah.
How can you sell out your own people?
Well, there's people regularly taking dumps on the street of beautiful San Francisco. Is that selling out, or is that neglect? Or are they just trying to create some chaos to have a different outcome, that old dialectic kind of a thing? I think that there'll be a lot of resistance against this kind of surveillance, and it might actually lead to some kind of secondary effect that means the cameras get taken down and everybody says, yay, we're saved, but they got another way to surveil you through the back door. And again, everybody has a smartphone and a bank account. They know what you spend your money on. They know what you're looking at on the internet at night. They know that. It's just that most of us are nobodies. It's just not that big of a deal yet.
We got, Briggs saying it ain't gonna fly with the Aussies. I don't think it's what the Aussies want. It's what the politicians implement, and it's the people you voted in that are allowing this to happen, right?
Yeah. Again, so you've got to get to the point where you've got a lot more. You have a lot of radical politics in the Commonwealth, and we need some counter radical politics. And you're starting to see that, Mike. It's taken a lot longer than I hoped it would, but you're starting to see it. You've got blue Tory governments across Canada all the way to, well, hopefully something like it will come into British Columbia eventually, if we even have an alternative like that. But no, people are fed up. They want to change. And we're reaching a point where, it costs a lot of money to keep people under that kind of surveillance. They're trying to automate the system. But if you automate it and there aren't actual human eyes on it, then people will find other ways to cheat. there's still going to be massive bribery and corruption. I mean, there'll be some local
Well,
official
because they're the
that you
ones
can
not
write a
being
check
watched.
to. They're the ones not being watched, exactly. And if they're not being watched, then again, people don't have to say, I'm against this system. I'm going to say, this system isn't being applied to everybody, and this isn't fair. And the Chinese, including the Chinese, have made a point every once in a while of publicly executing corrupt officials to kind of set an example. So, when you get a precedent like that, like it's like there's probably, I don't know, maybe Chinese communism is more efficient than the Soviet kind. All it seems to me is it's going to be a lot of misery and a lot of oppression,
it's
a lot of people
technologically
disappearing off the
different.
streets. It is technologically different, but it's still trying to control people. And people are incredibly malleable. They can find ways to do all kinds of stuff. I mean, if the people that envisioned all this global government or, communism in America or whatever, I mean, the people that came up with this stuff, Edward Bernays and his, advertising and social control and stuff like that, the Kudinov-Kalergi plan to replace the European population, those people have been dead for generations. It's third generation lackeys running this stuff now. And they don't even hide it anymore, and they really should be, because now everyone's looking right at them and they're going, ha ha, you can't do anything against me anyway. Well, apparently they can. A lot of them are losing their jobs. So yeah, the corruption breeds inefficiency.
It's really interesting, Supreme, that you brought in losing your job. Let me say something. I believe that we're not politically advancing ourselves or politically gaining knowledge that we should, or we're not getting ourselves into these discussions or situations because people are in fear of losing their jobs.
We're already there, yeah. There are third rails that you have to be careful in your workplace what you say, because, yeah, you could wind up living under a bridge.
But in 1975, you weren't scared to speak at your job because you just go find a job 3 hours later.
Well, that's right. At that time, there was kind of a boom going on. People will find jobs. I mean, they talk about automated vehicles and self-driving cars and, Amazon robotic warehouses and stuff like that. You throw that many people out of work all at once, it isn't going to be like the Industrial Revolution. We've already had that. Those people are going to have something else to do. I mean, the problem with that, of course, is they're going to need some kind of transfer of wealth. You'll need some kind of government cheese to keep people from revolting, which means they'll automatically take the chip or whatever. It's a problem, but it's not linear. It's dynamic. There are other forces and reactions that are going to happen. Like it's not going to go in a straight line. We have opportunities to fight back now, and most people don't until they're already realized they've got the chains on them. It seems like it's when you start pushing against your boundaries that you realize just how penned in and confined you are. But we might just have to survive this and hope for something better for our kids.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of a war. There's been a cultural war going on in the West for close to 100 years. We grew up in this matrix, almost literally a matrix. But people are starting to wake up and they're realizing that they don't have to participate. They're getting close to that event horizon where if they're going to get total control of the world, they need everybody to keep doing what they're doing a little bit longer. And people are already starting to throw their hands up and go, I'm not participating in this. So it's possible. And China, I mean, they have massive demographic problems. They have a huge debt problem. All of this control.
Housing problem.
Yeah. With all these empty houses, you've got these massive cities and they're only 10% occupied. This is a joke. It's a farce. It's a comic opera country. Mm-hmm. They're not going to take over the world. And even if they exported their technology to Australia, well, there's an awful lot of Aussies that, I mean, they play football without a helmet, Mike.
Yeah, they play rugby, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's like a true man sport. Like
exactly.
if I was to go on a rugby pitch, I probably will survive maybe 11 minutes, given how hard, or if we're receiving, or I don't know how the game works. But I'd probably last less than 11 minutes. I don't think I'd be off this field on a stretcher.
I'd be running for the gate out of there. I don't even think I'd get on the field. It's like, why would I invite that kind of injury? Yeah. Yeah, I mean those guys are monsters too. They're all 7 feet tall. Good Lord. No, and that's the thing. That's a country that breeds that, just like we breed hockey players. There is a certain limit that we can be pushed to, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And people are going to fight back. Even in Canada, even in good old, placid, nice Canada, people get fed up.
With our gangs, the slightly impolite downtown boys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Our gangs are here, the slightly impolite downtown Vancouver boys.
Yeah, exactly. If there's any real savagery, it's between the East Asians and the South Asians. It hasn't really been a problem for us.
Okay. All right, Supreme, I'm going to cut you off. We've been talking for a good while. I want to thank you for contributing to tonight's show.
Absolutely. I don't know if I added any light on the subject.
You added too much light on the subjects.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't want to hog the whole show.
No,
so.
it's fine, dude. No, it's about getting people on and getting people's perspective. That's what we're about. I'm gonna see if I can get the Raven on the show. I hope he's not. I hope he's not in prison right now. So I'm gonna give him a ring. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just don't be afraid to react, guys. React preemptively, ahead of time. If you're gonna panic, do it early and let people know what you're doing and why, and write your MP and let them know. Okay. God bless everyone.
God bless you.
Thanks.
That's Supreme Cannon, a personal friend of mine that's come to visit me several times at my shop, and he found me like this at my shop in a heartbeat. So people are like, Mike, why are you on so much social media and showing this and that in your workplace, and aren't you scared? I'm like, anyone can find anybody nowadays, you know? So Stantomic says, good night, guys. It's past midnight where I am. Enjoyed chatting. Keep it up. Oh, yeah. It's like 1 a.m. there if he's on the East Coast. Or he could be in Alberta. It could be an hour ahead. Supreme came in, and let's see if we can get the Raven on. I'm not sure what... He's got his Do Not Disturb on, the Raven. Not too sure if he's available, so we'll give him a call. The Raven always inputs some real good stuff. I hope he's not driving a train. Or...
What?
Hello? What? I can't hear you. Raven, are you there?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on 1 sec.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, way better. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
So, what do you think of this social credit score thing? I need you to be PG on this because now Skype is purging people that are dropping F-bombs and swearing now.
Okay. Was I swearing before?
No, I'm just letting everybody know because it's just something that we all need to basically... I forgot to tell Supreme... But Supreme is very, very lax.
He's a hard act to follow, man. Couldn't you put me on before him?
Why?
I should have been the opener. He's a hard act to follow, that guy.
Oh, give me a break. Dude, you drive a train.
Hey, listen, I got something for you guys here.
Are you driving a train right now?
I might be, okay? No, I'm not.
But you're on a train?
Well, I'm near a train.
Oh, okay. So I heard the train go. Bah!
Yeah. There's one over there.
Oh, okay. I thought you just pulled the thing yourself. I'm like, you're not supposed to.
No, I'm just sitting here.
Okay. I need to know, man, buddy. Tell me you're okay. Who gives a crap what happens in China? You know, they got their own thing going. They're communist. They're not. You know, Western society is different. We have our. You know. What is going on? They're unrolling this. So if you go back to my other article, it stately says in January, basically February of this year, stating that China's social credit system may soon reach Australia. 5 months later, 2 days ago, China's big brother social control arrives in Australia. And now Chile is implementing it. Chile. And in Venezuela, and there's other countries on the sidelines looking to see how this 5G works and how it could help. What do they? I mean, okay, go ahead. You talk.
Well, the scary thing is, like, I could see it happening in China. That's a communist country, but when it happens in a democracy, that's a scary thing. That's a big deal that it's happening in Australia. Latin America, I don't know if it's going to work down there. I believe it's coming to Canada, though. It's eventually going to come here. We already have it, actually, with our demerit system, our credit system with the banks, everything. They're just going to roll it all into one and put cameras on you. I notice more cameras in Winnipeg. When I'm driving down the street, I see cameras more and more on intersections. More towers are going up. So it's coming. I fully believe it's coming here. And I think it will be implemented. But like Supreme said, yeah, you can only push people so far.
Right.
But yeah, it's coming.
Because it gets to a point where when people have, see, if people have something to lose, they have a fear of pushing back. But when people have nothing to lose, then they have nothing to lose, so they could fight back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
definitely
tell us,
coming.
So if they unravel this in Canada, what is the real purpose of it? Like, I mean, they want to stop me to get on a flight?
You know what? Society's disintegrating at an exponential rate. Just in Winnipeg this week, there's people driving around with guns shooting. Some guy got killed. Like, it's meth. It's a violent drug. It's disintegrating. And next year or the year after, it's going to be something else that's even worse. And they know they got their eye on the ball. They're looking at it. There's all kinds of problems. There's theft. There's jobs are crap. It's the disintegration of society. So you better get a hold of it, and you better get in front of this problem before it gets out of control. I watched a documentary about a year ago. They said by 2040, society in the world completely disintegrates by 2040. That's only 20 years from now.
So we're talking about society as a social aspect of us integrating with each other and sharing ideas, society, or society as an...
I'm talking, the Bible's not cutting it anymore. You could self-police yourself with the Bible only so much. I worked for quite a few people. See, you're Catholic, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm more agnostic, but the Bible's not cutting it anymore. They've got to cut. This is going to be a hard pill to swallow for the world, but I believe that it's going to be implemented right around the world, and there's big changes coming. Big changes coming.
Now, you're right. You're right on the money with the whole religion thing, because now, one thing that actually scared me about the whole China thing was that actually made me take a step back is this. The people being put into internment camps or their social credit score being pretty much knocked down to zero for being Catholic.
Well, look at Saudi Arabia. They cut that kid's head off because he sent a WhatsApp message.
Yeah, I heard about that. What's the deal with that, Frankie?
And yet the Americans are in bed with the Saudis.
Yeah, well, they have to. They're remember, it's got a lot to do with money, right? It's got a lot to do with business, right?
Better get into.
Do you think Saudi Arabia would be in bed with America if Saudi Arabia produced broccoli?
No.
There you go.
Do you think? Yeah, same with Venezuela.
Right. If Venezuela produced broccoli, nobody would care.
No.
So,
but you know what? The thing that bugs me about the 5G is the radiation aspect of all those towers everywhere. I just don't think it's going to be a healthy place to live in the cities.
Yeah, I see the cities being very congested with that crap going triangulated all around the city. And smaller towns like where I am, we'll probably have them too, but it won't be so triangulated because there's less streets and there's less, dense areas.
It's sightline. Yeah, but it's sightline. The cell phone has to be able to see the tower. So it's going to be everywhere. That's what I was wondering, because I'm moving to a small town outside Winnipeg, and I was wondering, wouldn't the towers have to be completely everywhere? Else you just don't have coverage. What the hell's wrong with 4G anyway? I liked 4G.
I like 4G. Look, you're watching me through 4G right now, right?
Yeah.
So, is it okay to watch me through 4G? Are you having any interruptions?
No.
And you're talking to me on Skype on 4G.
Yeah.
So what the hell's the problem?
I know. They can't use their military grade. They can't use their military grade 5G on you though with 4G.
Well, I know New Zealand said no to 5G in Hawaii.
Howie. Yeah. Those poor Canadians getting executed because of that chick. I hope she's happy that her dad's pulling those kinds of strings.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that. We're gonna have to cover that on a specific. We're gonna have to talk about that. That's not good. Like, I mean, there's a lot of travel restrictions now for Canadians going to China too. Hello,
Yeah.
you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, you cut off.
And
there
as
for a second.
Supreme said, yeah, Supreme said they know what you're watching at night. You know, they know what everybody's watching, but hey, we're just small peons in the big scheme of things, so they don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
It's all leasing. I hate 5G. I hate the aspect. It's digital, eh? They're going to take away cash. They're going to force us into that digital prison. What a shitty life that would be, eh? To walk around on a camera all day long. Digital. They know everything you do, everything you buy, everything you watch, everybody you talk to. Why would you? You're getting closer to becoming a digital, just a piece of digital information yourself at that point.
And what if they start inserting those chips inside us too?
Oh, they will. They will. Those are coming. RFID, Mark of the Beast, Revelations 13, 16, 18. You will bank. You will not bank without the mark in your forehead or in your hand. That's coming, Sweden. And look at the trains that we're running right now. They're setting boxes up in here that's going to be all positive train control. We're not going to be sitting in here in 10 years. We're going to be done. These are going to be all manless trains in Canada. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, Raven, if in 10 years you'll be sipping a margarita on some private beach in Costa Rica somewhere.
I'm actually I want to go to Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm just throwing that out there. In 10 years, I think you'd be in that.
Maybe you'll come with me, Mike. Maybe you'll come with me.
Yeah, I'll probably visit you. We'll probably restore a boat and make a YouTube series about it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like Lord Humongous just said it right there. I miss Pac-Man. The analog times. The old analog days when you have to press record and play to record something. The old analog days when everything was just no interference with radio technologies. You know what I'm saying? It was all, yeah, it was so different, you know? And, yeah. So you got layoffs at work and you know, a lot of...
We had 10 more yesterday. But there's going to be a big whack coming because we just got too many people. You know, there was 5 trains on Friday. There was 5 trains that went west of Winnipeg, and there should have been 20. Like, I sat for 48 hours waiting to go to work. I should sit for maybe 18 hours.
Wow.
The traffic's dying in Canada. The amount of goods that are coming in trains into this country, I can tell you, is dying out. We've dropped 25% on the amount of traffic that's coming in on the East Coast, on the West Coast.
No. From the west to east, you mean?
Yeah, west to east.
Okay.
So we got all that kind of traffic, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I haul those trains all the time. I'm on them all the time. They're double stacked, 10,000 foot, 2 mile long, double stack containers, Costco, Canadian Tire, and there's just not as many anymore. And it's going to be interesting to see because I know that China's suffocating right now. If you go look at Kyle Bass, some of his videos on the twin deficits that China's running, they're running out of dollars. They have big problems there, and they're liars. Some people have pegged their GDP at 1.6%. They're saying 6.5. They're full of it. And I know. And America's 3.2% GDP. That's a lie. That's bullshit.
I think America's around 1.1 or 1.25%.
You know what? Right now, they're lying to each other to make each other look strong. It's not about a trade deal. It's about who's going to take over. Is it going to be the One Belt Road in 2025, or is it going to be Trump? It's a little bit bigger, and Trump knows that they're in a bad position. So he's just holding. He's just waiting. They're suffocating. They're running out of money. Mm-hmm. They quadrupled their debt. They're in big trouble. Their cities are vacant.
We got here from Knave Child saying all books going digital, which they will start to change / erase. What's going to happen, Raven? And I brought this up. I brought this up in like 15 shows already. 100 years from now, because me and you won't be alive to contest something, they're just going to change history. They're going to say, oh, America went in and liberated the world from Iraq and those weapons of mass destruction. Thank God for America for freeing all the Iraqis and blah, blah, blah. When me and you, we're not alive to contest this. But the history books, they're just going to change.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it.
I could see that happening 100 years from now. You know what? Because we won't be there to tell people it's wrong, right?
Yeah, but you know what? There'll be video evidence of everything. Like if something ever happened to you, your kids could go online and they could watch you for hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
There's a history of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be video histories of stuff.
Unless it gets digitally erased.
Yeah, true.
It's got to be manually. Remember manual? It's got to be like recorded on a disc or on a tape. It can't be no more this digital and maybe create a time capsule with VHS tapes with all the footage of what's happening now. And I'm not kidding. VHS tapes and bury a VCR with it, right?
Yeah.
And then tell people what power they need, so they, depending on what the amp service is in the future, they don't fry the VCR when they plug it in. And you tell them what the amp service needs to be and all that stuff. And you bury it and give specific instructions. And people go, and then do not open it for 100 years. And 100 years from now, it's just going to recalibrate or re-talk about what we're talking about today, because we won't be there 100 years to tell people.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Anyways, I got a question for you from Trevor in Leeds. Is asking, yo, Raven, you sound cool, man. You should come on Mike in the Night more often. Your points of views are refreshing. Leeds is in England, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a guy from that part of the world came over to Canada to visit me. I collect railway memorabilia.
You collect
like
who?
I collect the antiques, like the lanterns, the locks.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a really big collection, probably the largest collection in the country of railway antiques. I had a guy come from, he came from England just to see my collection. He came here, he spent 4 hours at my house looking at all my stuff. He came from over there. And when he left, he gave me his card, his business card. And I looked it up online, and he has one of the biggest museums in the country over there, like 100 pieces of trains and stuff. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't even realize who I had in my house, eh?
Right.
He had yeah, it was pretty cool.
We got Teresa. Sorry. Lorenzo in Byron Bay, Australia is asking the Raven, if trains are fully automated, then what if human error inputs the wrong information?
They won't. I drive automated trains now. It's called Trip Optimizer. I punch in a few buttons on the computer and I just sit there and blow the horn. The train drives all the way there. It never makes a mistake. It's GPS to satellites. It knows exactly where it is. It slows down when it should. It speeds up when it should. They're just fine tuning it. It's the embryo stage of a manless train. They're going to fine tune it here in the next 5-7 years, and then it's going to be fully automated. And that's all going to play into 5G. 5G will be automated. Automate your cars on your roads. It's going to do your social credit system, and it's probably going to have a nefarious attachment to it that people are not going to like a policing, to where like you said, and like you said there that where the more police will be used to be militarized, and they won't have to have as many street cops out there because they'll have 5G everywhere. You won't be able to walk anywhere, go anywhere, That's it. I don't like that type of life. I don't think that we should live that type of life. I think we should be more free.
I mean, yeah. You're making a lot of sense, and AI is taking over, and someone said that in the comments, by the way. And I'm scared, man. I'm scared how we're kind of basically throwing out the whole totalitarian way of doing things, and everyone just approving of it and softening to it and saying this is good. That's what I'm scared of.
Well, it's the young generation. They're used to computers, digital currencies. They're more, it's our age and older that are just like, hey, wait a second, we're used to reading the back of cereal boxes in the morning.
You saw that?
Yeah, I like that. That was good.
Inside joke. Whoever watches, whoever goes on my channel and goes to the here, let's go here to community. Go to our community on our channel. We got voting polls there. Here it is. When I was a kid, there were no phones or tablets. We read cereal boxes at breakfast. And that's exactly what it is, right? But, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Raven, thank you for coming on, brother. We're going to find out what we're going to talk about next week. We were supposed to talk about something else, but this whole thing unraveling in Australia, this 5G, not 5G, this social network system unraveling in Australia. And it's kind of funny. They talk about it at first in February as a discussion, and then it becomes reality 5 months later.
Yeah, they just floated it out there.
And us talking about it in Canada and maybe New Zealand and the UK, yeah.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. For sure, it's coming.
Yeah. Anyways, Raven, thanks so much.
I'm gonna leave you with one last last sound here. Ready?
Ready? Yeah. Did you blow that train horn?
Get that?
Yeah, I got that train horn. Yeah.
Good. Maybe I'll send you one for your car.
Perfect. Yeah, dude.
You could wake everyone up in Merritt.
That's perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Raven. You're the best, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, don't put me on after Supreme anymore. That guy's hard to follow.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a hard one to follow.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, brother.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay, take care.
All right. Wow, guys. Yeah, this is 10K special edition, Mike in the Night. 10,000 subscribers. And 10,009 subscribers. I want to thank everyone that subscribes to this channel. I want to thank everyone that's watching. We're just creating discussion, guys. We're not, naming names. We're not pointing the finger. We're just trying to be as vanilla as possible, that we don't cross any lines, or we don't, imaginary. They're all imaginary lines, but once you cross them, there's no coming back, right? Yeah. Cotton Candy Beard Gary, congrats on 10K, Mike. Yeah, nowadays for anyone to get to 10,000 subscribers, well, all the demonetizing, the whole anything is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? It's just phenomenal. But now it's tough. It's very tough. I've been doing this for so many years. So I want to thank, what's her name? Sophia from Ballycastle, Ireland, for sending me this. Ric Flair. And we got to Ric Flair it out one more time here on the show.
Woo! Woo!
Oh yeah. Thanks for sending me this. When I saw this, I was floored. Absolutely floored. But I want to, yeah. And guys, if you want to support the transmission, all I'm asking is that you guys please share one of my videos. That's all I'm asking for. Until you can't share my videos anymore. Until it's not allowed, or I am deemed as God knows what for being a Catholic or for being conservative. And I'm a tough bubble to prick. I'm a tough balloon to smash. You know why? It's when they can't label me as these extreme person or an extreme person. My wife's Filipina, my ex-girlfriend's Chinese, my ex-wife is from Afghanistan. So it's really tough to put me in that category when I'm famous in Africa. Go to the top of my YouTube channel, click on my fan page. I used to make Michael Moore type documentaries about how Africa's being sold out and how Africa's got the short end of the stick, in Portuguese though, in Angola and Mozambique. I went on tour speaking at universities in Africa, in Portuguese though, and in Portuguese Africa. And all my content is banned in Angola now. And Mozambique is taking some tips on some of the things that we discuss, and a lot of universities are discussing my points of views. So let's go. I'll show it to you so you know I'm not blowing hot air. So this might, hopefully it goes to it. Yeah, last time the link was broken for some reason. There's my Portuguese fan page, and this is all over the place. It's in Portuguese. I'll read it in English. Africa never had a real democracy because it's easy to manipulate a corrupt country. And this is a little bio of what happened and stuff like that. But I'm pretty much banned from every social media platform in some countries because people try to follow my story or what I got going on, and people asking if there's anything happening and if I could bring up more stories. Look at 118,000 people like this. And you know those people that get all excited when they get likes. Look at this. 4,000 people reached, 5,100 likes. So when people say, oh yeah, look, I put this one up today, it's got 1,300 people reached, 42 engagements, and it's about Maduro accusing Portugal of robbing Venezuela, and family photos, things like that. I'm putting up more photos. Bom dia, Mike. And I get a lot of Bom dia, Mike. Lots of Bom dia Mikes here. Yeah, my YouTube channel in Portuguese pretty much got shafted and got taken down. I had to redo it and redo some of my documentaries. Sudaj saying I'm a fan of your heart, and I'm very active in politics because of you. Good night. Deixa eu enviar notícias do mundo porque, and I explained to him why I wants to learn from me. He's this channel. I gotta be careful because I can't. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to throw this out there. So I mean, I'm really hard to be thrown in that stage of the whole far right guy. Mike Martins is a far right neo-Nazis. I don't think so. I've been to Africa more times than most people will ever travel in their lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? So things like that, so they can't really put me in that, Too many resources in Africa. Everybody wants their cut. That's one of my documentaries about Africa for Sale I did. Mozambique, where's the richness going? All those documentaries did. Mozambique, where the richness is going. Here, I'll show it to you on my my new Portuguese channel. That one ended up getting 33 million views. That video got 33 million views and it got taken down. And now a lot of people saying that my Portuguese channel has 5,000 subscribers now. It had more than that. And now my Mozambique, where's the richness going, is only 137,000 views. And that's when it was re-uploaded because of that. And all these documentaries I work hard making of what happened and how we pretty much, the Portuguese in history got the really short end of the stick. But anyways. Yes, Metal Gear Mark III is always right. He's saying the Chinese are already in Africa. Yeah, I did that one here, Africa for Sale, where I discussed, this is all my stuff. All of me, man. That I took, but the rest of the stuff, I got permission to use some of this stuff. And talking about pretty much, that's how we had it. See, I was supposed to be born in Africa. My dad was living there. In a very Catholic country. Even today it's very Catholic, Mozambique. And we had this. We had it all. And then we became destabilized, not by the Portuguese, because the Portuguese were there 500 years, not 50 years, by the French, the Dutch, the Germans, the English. They did not like us creating prosperity. And there was no segregation either. There was no segregation at all. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that right now. Let me know what you... I'm going to get my video flagged. Let me know what you guys think. Lord Humongous is on a mission. Well, not a mission. Lord Humongous is on a project for us. He's going to be in Seattle, so Lord Humongous will be streaming some videos for us live on Skype from Seattle and what's going on, and discussing some of the homelessness and the issues down there in King County, Seattle. And he's on assignment, Lord Humongous, so I thank him for that. Let me know what you guys think. I'd like to know in the comments below. So share one of my videos if you got, if you want to support the transmission. Social credit score going to Australia. How would this affect you? I think it's going to affect every English-speaking country. I think America will be the last one. But I think every English-speaking country will eventually adopt this as the norm. Let me know. Comment below. Lots of love, you guys. Thanks for watching.